All right, welcome back again. So we're going to start off by downloading the starting code and just kind of getting our feet wet with the iOS side first. Like in the other lectures, we did all the backend stuff first. We're just going to get ready on the iOS side a little bit before we even mess with the backend. So you're going to need this zip file. So I just made it a zip file, so you can visit this place. You can click on the download button up here. It's just off the screen, sorry, and download this item. Once you've downloaded it, you'll need to extract it. You'll see that it's already kind of set up for pods, right? So it's already got some pods things going on. So just go ahead and open up the .workspace one. When you open it up, it'll probably ask you for security things. You say sure, open it up. Once it opens up in Xcode, you can go ahead and try to run it from here. Once you get it running, it should pop up. By default, it should pop up and show you this screen. This screen should work, so I'm just going to put in test and Fisher DS and blah. So it works, except for the fact that it has no Firebase integration at all, right? So it's purely local stuff. Also, if you stop it and rerun it, it's not like being saved anywhere other than variables. So that thing I just put in, it's now gone. So it works, but it doesn't actually use any storage mechanisms. The UI is all there, right? So we got a little dialog up. We got a little cold cell folding here. We can edit things, right? Like there's nothing wrong with editing things. It should just change the title there. But it doesn't do anything interesting with the back end. And if you go look at the pods that are installed on this guy, so you can go look at the pod file, you can see that there's a couple of interesting pods that are being used. One is the material pod, and then another is called folding cell. Folding cell is just a little thing that you probably won't ever use. It gave us that little animation, right? So I mean, it was cute, right? But it's something that Tyler found just to do the animation. Material is one that you should really consider. So let's just go look at it a little bit more. You can go to the docs on any CocoaPod just by going to cocodots.org, docset, and then the name of the pod. So in this case, the pod is called material. So I just put in /material. It auto-completes to whatever the current version is. At the time of this video, you can see the version there, but that changes quite rapidly. The idea of this pod is that it makes your iOS app look more like a material design app. And this is actually really handy because if you're trying to make an iOS app and an Android app that look the same, material design is one good way to get there, right? So you can do things in Android to use material design and iOS. And I think it's just a really neat look. So I recommend you spend a little bit of time just kind of looking over this, because for your projects or for the other things you do, you might consider using this material pod just because I think it's pretty slick, right? The other pod is just literally for the folding cell animation, which is great, but I doubt you really need that one. Also, just to point it out, folding cell, I'm using a version 0.7.2. It has upgraded. I just didn't bother to change the code, and it still works with 0.7.2, so I'm using an older version technically. Speaking of versions, that's actually a really important thing whenever you're making an app. In production apps, we kind of recommend that you always do this specifying of a version, and then that way you know when you're upgrading, right? In a lot of the videos I do, and later in this video, I won't bother specify a version because I want you to be using the latest, and if the code changed, I want you to change the code. But specifying a version is best practice, so I just thought I'd point that out. The other thing I wanted to point out is that there are actually two view controllers in this starting code. So in fact, if you go look at the main storyboard, you can see it there. But there's actually two different things going on here. There's the password view controller, and then there's the login view controller. When you launched it this time, it went into the password view controller. And if you go to the app delegate, you can see why that happens. So in the app delegate, there's kind of this cheatier little variable. It says show login screen false. Change this to true and then run it, right? So this app is going to show either the login screen or go straight into the app. And in the real version, it's going to do it based on whether you're logged in or not. For this part, it just always shows one or the other, right? So I just wanted to let you know that there are kind of two things hiding under the hood And if you've run it just with one, then you probably don't know that the other is there. All right, so that is the starting code. Come back next time and we'll start wiring this thing up with Firebase. See you then.